Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. I am Jen Sugarmeyer, your host of Mindset in the Morning. And we are here live 5 days a week at 6 a.m. Central Standard Time. But because this is YouTube, you can tune in whenever you would like. And here on Mindset in the Morning, we talk all things mindset. And that's because we need to be exercising our mental muscle every single day before we step out in the world. It's how we get prepared for the game of life. Just like any player on a field would warm up before a game, exercising your mental muscle is going to help you be prepared as life is happening and you are bobbing and you are weaving. It's like in a boxing match, you got to move your head so you don't get punched. When you understand the 6 inches that are in between your ears, you can see those punches coming and you are able to move with grace and with ease, and you are able to stay in a powerful state of being. You see, nobody that I've met has said, yeah, I'd like to be angry or frustrated or anxious, resentful, embarrassed, bored. No, these aren't good states of being for us to be in. But when we understand the power of the mind, we're able to take ourselves out of these, what I call states of suffering, and bring ourselves into a beautiful state of being, which is where we are in our most powerful state: peace, clarity, flow. I had a friend of mine yesterday, and he said, Jen, I just never make good decisions when I'm angry. And I've had to learn recently that if I'm angry, I have to catch that and then think through it before I respond, because I never make the good, powerful decisions. He didn't say powerful, that's more my words, but he says, I never make the best decisions when I'm angry. And I said, yeah, well, that's because, and of course I'm so excited because this is what we talk about here on the show every day. This is what, we know that being in a state of suffering is not our most powerful state of being. And we need to get out of that. And he said the exact thing that he needs to do. And that's what? And that's to catch it as it's happening, so that you can then say, acknowledge it and say, hold on, is this where I want to be? Let's work over to a different state. So first step is acknowledging it, but you've got to be able to see it. You see, life is either happening to you or you're happening to life. And so many of us, it's just, we get hit by this tidal wave, we get angry and we respond, and we don't stop to think about how do we want to react. So today is Friday, and we started this last week, and we're going to continue on with this because I just love it. It's kind of just for me to vent too. I'm not going to sugarcoat it, is what it is. And we're just going to talk. We're going to have a real honest, not that we don't have honest conversations as it is, but I'm just going to kind of take the filter off a little bit more. And we're just going to say it like it is. I am Jen Sugarmeyer. So we are not going to sugarcoat it, is what it comes down to. Today, we're going to talk about accountability and where accountability falls into your life. And I see so often that people just want to blame everybody else. Oh, it's your fault. Maybe like they showed up someplace. They even had some words. They had some actions. They were doing some things in this place. But then all of a sudden, because something in that situation didn't work out the way they wanted it to, not it. It's everybody else's fault. But mind you, you showed up there. You participated. It just didn't work out the way you thought it would. So it's your fault. So it's everybody else's fault. And like, y'all, what is this blame game going on? The more I think about it, it's like blaming is like the most narcissistic, it's like saying, I don't do anything wrong. Anything wrong that happens in my life is other people's fault. I am perfect. My actions are flawless. And when something doesn't go right, I'm able to figure out who it is, and it's never me. Like, what? It doesn't sound so welcoming and inviting. And yeah, it sounds narcissistic is what that is. We all have accountability for what is happening in our life. It's like saying we want only the good things that happen, but the bad things, never us, never us. Well, life is one big risk, okay? When you walk out of your house, stuff is bound to happen, okay? It could start raining. You could sit on a piece of chocolate and have chocolate on your butt. You could walk through a puddle. You could get hit by a car. There are so many things that as you walk out of your house, that there is a risk to just life. It just happens. But does it mean that you go around and you blame everything else? I mean, you were the one that decided to go outside the house, right? I mean, you very well could just stay inside and do nothing. I mean, I think that's probably your safest bet. It's also the quickest way to have a really boring life. You have to get out there and do things. You have to. Brene Brown says, hey, if you're not willing to put yourself out there, like without the risk, there is no reward. And we have to allow ourselves to be vulnerable. And when we talk about vulnerability, I mean, yes, it is allowing people to get close to us, but it's also putting ourselves out there in the world and doing things. You become vulnerable to everything that's external in the world as soon as you step foot outside that house. So if you make the decision, because you are the owner of your world, if you make the decision to walk outside your house, then there are risks that come along with that. If you step in a puddle, it's not the puddle's fault for assaulting you. Okay? Oh, the stupid puddle. You walked in it. You walked in it. That is accountability. Saying, hey, I wasn't paying attention. I was in my phone. I was not, I was talking to somebody else and I wasn't looking, whatever it is. Maybe somebody legitimately kind of pushed you in the puddle. Well, I don't know what the situation is between you and this other person, but you still decided to leave the house. And there are just risks to being alive. But we're so quick to point the fingers, and we don't, it feels good to point fingers. No, for us to say, oh yeah, I take ownership and accountability in this. It feels like fault and blame, like, oh, well, it's my fault. And of course, we don't want to be wrong. Of course, we want to look like we're right. But how do we grow if we never are willing to learn? If we aren't willing to go inside of ourselves and do work, then wherever we're at now is as much as we'll ever be able to learn. The person that is going to excel more is the person that is willing to say, I will listen, I will learn, and are constantly seeking to improve, versus the person that is a know-it-all. Those know-it-alls, like, oh, I just know. I know everything. Like when we were 14 years old, and that's what we thought. We thought, oh yeah, we know everything. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But come to find out now, you're 20, 30, 40 years later and you go, oh my gosh, I knew nothing. In fact, now you look at those kids and you're like, oh, you kids know nothing, which is exactly what our parents told us. And we were like, whatever, mom, whatever, dad, I knew everything. Right. But those people that say that they know everything, that's all that they'll ever know, is right where they're at, because they are not continuing to grow. The way that you grow is you look for the lessons, you continue to expand your mind and say, okay, how do I learn things? How do I grow from these? Where are the lessons? But when you don't take accountability, you're saying, nope, I'm at the top of my game. I am unwilling to learn. I am unwilling to grow. That's pretty small-minded, if you ask me. If you were a CEO of a company, and let's say there was a vulnerability that happened, there was some incident that happened, your system got hacked, and what the board of directors, the employees, what the people that were impacted from this security breach, what everybody would expect from the CEO is to come up with a game plan and move forward. No one's looking for all of the excuses. Oh, well, these people, they could have done their job better. This is that. They'll go, okay, now what? Just, we need our issue fixed. We need operations back and running. We need all of the vulnerabilities fixed, and we need to make sure that it doesn't happen again. Reasonable? Fair? I mean, that's what we would expect. It's not, there's nothing we can do about the past. It's all about, okay, where are we at? How do we fix this? And how do we make sure that it doesn't happen again? That's what we would expect from a CEO. You are the CEO of your world. So however you would expect your boss's boss, the CEO of the company, however you would expect that those people to be, is how you need to be with your own life. And we need to start looking internally and saying, and we're not saying fault. We're just saying, where's our accountability? So the CEO in that situation should have said, okay, well, maybe we needed better tools. Maybe there are additional questions that I should have been asking about our security practices, about the number of security personnel that we have. Maybe we should have been running regular checks. Maybe we need to outsource this because maybe we don't have the internal knowledge in order to support a system of this magnitude and keep it secure. Maybe we need to have a third party come in and help us because that's their expertise, clearly not our expertise. I don't know what the right answer is. And I don't know that there is one right answer. That's why, you gotta try things until you find something that works. But we're not looking for fault. We're just saying, take your emotions out of this. Take your ego, leave it at the door, and just come up with a game plan and move forward. Carol Dweck had this wonderful study. I hope if you've not heard of Carol Dweck, Dweck, Google her. She's amazing. I think we've talked about it here on the show, but growth versus fixed mindset. And these are people that are willing to grow, people that, continue to expand themselves and try, shoot for the moon and they're, going for the stars and they're practicing and they're going to make it to wherever they go. And they believe that there's room for growth in their life, that they can be bigger than where they are now versus people that have a fixed mindset. And a fixed mindset is whatever you have now is where you're at. That's it. Whatever you have now is all you will ever have. You will not have any more. And so people that have a fixed mindset, often they say, look at how great I am over here, because they're trying not to show you how great things are here, because they're unwilling to work on themselves and do all of the things necessary in order to grow themselves. They're not willing to look for the lessons. So sometimes when when people say, oh, they're compensating for something, that's what they're talking about, a fixed mindset where somebody is saying, hey, look at all the things that I've done. And I've certainly been in this mode before. I would say there are times in my life where I have exhibited fixed, a fixed mindset sometimes. And I would say absolutely now I'm in a growth mindset. So yes, depending on, I believe that you can flip flop between the two, but when you're in fixed, all you got is what you got. And of course, you want to look good. So if you don't feel like you're enough, you'll take those things that look really good. And they do find that people tend to be, look at how well dressed I am, and look at how this and that, and look at all these things and how pretty I am and all this, because they're lacking something over here. But if they just had a growth mindset and they didn't believe that what they have is all they will ever have, then they would be able to grow. And this is where I'm going, I hope you were able to follow that. One of the biggest characteristics that Carol found between a growth and a fixed mindset, ready? Blame. People that had a fixed mindset were so quick to blame others. Oh, his fault, her fault, their fault, not mine, not it, not it, not it. But people that had a growth mindset, that were able to take themselves to the next level, to then level up again, to then go to the next level. People that were able to be in this space, they took ownership. They took accountability. They weren't blaming everybody. You know what happens? Okay, let's just pause. You know what happens when we're blaming? Effectively, what you're doing? Nothing. What is happening by you blaming? You're just wasting time. If you want to be responsible for your happiness, then you have to be responsible for everything. If you are going to allow other people, listen closely, if you are going to allow other people to dictate if you're happy, if you're sad, if you're in whatever kind of mood that if you're angry, if you're having the best day of your life, and it all depends on other people, then you are not the CEO of your space. You have work that you need to do. Instead, step into yourself, step into the driver's seat of your life and own your happiness. Don't blame other people when something, oh, well, I'm not happy because of them. That is literally playing Russian roulette. You know what Russian roulette is? Yeah, Russian roulette. That means like you don't know what's coming with your happiness, with your life. If you want the happiness, then you have to say, no matter what, I am in control. I am responsible for my happiness. And even if y'all are acting a fool and being crazy, that's okay. I'm going to walk away from that situation and I'm going to remain happy because I own my happiness. And if y'all are toxic, I don't need that. I'm going to go over here, or I'm not going to allow those things to get to me. I'm not going to allow it to take space in my brain. That's what ownership and accountability looks like. But if you are allowing these other people that cut you off, that do something to you, that don't hand their homework in on time, I don't know why that was my example. I guess I'm back in school, but that aren't, meeting your expectations. If you are allowing them to impact your happiness and your peace and your clarity and your flow and all of these things that we strive to be, because we know that's our most powerful place to be in, that's on you. You allowed it to happen. You can't have your cake and eat it too. Or maybe you can if you're Jen Sugarmeyer, because I love me some cake. I do like cake. And I'm talking about literal cake. Okay. But in this metaphor, I'm saying you can't have your cake and eat it too. You just can't have both. I want all of the good, but never the bad. I'm not saying that you have to take fault for things, but you have to take ownership for who you are. You have to take ownership of your happiness. You have to take ownership of your actions. You have to take ownership of your words. If you say something, you are accountable for them. If you step out of your house, you are responsible for that. If you do anything, that is on you. And if you are unhappy, that is on you too. So step into your CEO. Stop blaming. Nobody cares. We're not one-upping. Okay. Nobody has this like prison cell of tally marks of, well, there's another there. Just live your life. Okay. Live it. Be the most powerful person you can be. Continue to learn, continue to grow. It's exciting. When you start to level up, it's like being in a video game. It's in a video game, and you will feel the weight coming off and you'll feel yourself elevated. And you can only get there if you take accountability and you start to look for the lessons and you take ownership, not fault. You take ownership of the things that happen. Look, okay, I see where I can grow from the situation, and the situation didn't happen the way that I thought it was going to, but I know next time I'm going to do things differently, or I'm not going to show up next time, or I'm going to say something differently because I know that didn't come out the right way. So take accountability for what happens in your life and start to see the growth. No more blame. It's all you. You can't have your cake and eat it too. That sounded like a Dr. Seuss rhyme. You are the captain of your ship. Steer it where you want it to go. No more blame. Again, we're not saying fault. Just look where's my accountability? What was my place in this? Where did I fit into this? And how can I improve for next time? Just focus on that. Not all what's done is done, but just look where you can grow, look where you can improve. So that's it. I wasn't going to sugarcoat it. I wasn't going to fluff it up. That's it. That's what I'm thinking. Start taking accountability for your own life. Watch yourself grow. It is exciting. That's what I want for you. So as you go out today, think about where your accountability is, where your ownership is in every single situation, and start to identify it, because it is such a critical piece to your advancement of yourself. So start to pay attention to those things and notice where you're blaming as well. And when you do find yourself blaming, see where you can then turn it around and just take accountability for your own growth and say, where can I grow from this? What can I do differently next time? All right. It is the weekend. Tomorrow is Saturday. Then there's Sunday. Do some level of self-care weekend, self-care Saturday, self-care Sunday, self-care 30 minutes a day, 5 minutes, whatever it is, do something for you. And I'll see you back here on Monday. Stay beautiful, stay blessed, and go be powerful. Cheers.